Okay, everyone, it's time to talk about what it is we're doing, with these affiliates, these companies that we work with, these brands and things that we bring to you. NutraSwish has been a powerful tool. It says it gives you rapid recovery, clean energy, joint support, cognitive health, and immune booster. It's utilizing glutathione, and we all know glutathione. If you've ever had it or been around it, it absolutely works. Something that I am 50 years old. I am in decent shape. I've been working out, right? But the ultimate is this, guys. The first thing that you feel when you're 50 years old is your body. Your body doesn't cooperate quite like it used to cooperate, and things that never really bothered you before are now bothering you. Health is literally our wealth. And so I put out there a few bottles, and I put some of the things that I've used in the past. And just to be honest with you guys, I keep them with me because I literally believe in working out all the time. So this is my peak performance. That is Melaleuca. I told you guys, I actually purchased it from a lady who worked with my BNI group. And this is something that I really want to get into, guys, because the reason that I set you up with the platform of Business Networking International is how powerful that platform is. If you have not researched that website, then you've done yourself a very severe disservice. The beauty of BNI is it taught me things about myself in business that I didn't know before. And I've told you guys before, I've been a promoter since I was very young. And as a promoter, you think you know it all, which is what most people do. We generally get into business and we think that we already know it all. And like I tell people, and I don't try to be mean about this, but your bank account is a reflection of literally how much you know. Some people will tell you, no, that's not true. Absolutely, it's true. Because if you're going to do a business, the first thing you have to look at is your quarterly reports. So every quarter, right? January, February, March, you have to look at how well you've done. You know, you're not judging yourself, but you are making yourself have to deal with it, right? And then that's if you're a real business, right? Then in April, May, and June, that's your second quarter. So you've looked at your second quarter results. And then in July, August, right? And then in September, that's now your third quarter, right? And that's the quarter we're in currently right now. All right. And of course, the last quarter, I don't have to explain to you because we're all caught up in Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas, right? So that's your fourth quarter in any business. I don't care what it is you're doing, that is your quarter. So if you start something out, let's say you're doing affiliate marketing, let's say you're doing network marketing, which is like what Melaleuca is, right? You're doing something of that nature. The first thing you're going to want to do is think like a business person. And one of the key ways to think like a business person is to show up for Dr. Breakthrough's trainings. Dr. Breakthrough is giving phenomenal trainings, and he has been number one in 9 different companies, and he's tearing it up right now in Numi. And the only reason he's tearing it up in Numi, guys, is because it works. I sent it to him innocently, and to be quite frank with you, I personally was very skeptical of it. And I thought to myself, I sure pray to God, I hope this works. But at the end of the day, if it doesn't work, there's no loss, right? I'm given one body and one life, and I better take care of this body as much as humanly possible. I could go through my desk and show you results of it. I can show you in the refrigerator here at the office a Chef Coco meal plan. So this isn't a joke or a game for me. This is real life. And that's how I'm able to be 50 years old and have more energy than an average 30-year-old. I'm not wasting time. If I say it, I'm going to do it. So I put in there today, I was talking about my gentleman, and I was just having a conversation with Raphael, and I had the shirt on, just happened to have the shirt on. We were at our house, and we had 5 air conditioners go out at our home. So the guys are there fixing our air. So that's what I was doing this morning. But as they're doing that, I'm sitting there, I'm outside, and I'm thinking about Ken Campbell is his name. He's in Cincinnati, Ohio. And Ken is a very interesting guy, right? So Ken is a young guy, but he was also former military. He'd come over from the Chevy dealership. And they hired 2 other African-American gentlemen, himself and another gentleman, Jeremy, who's still there. You can just Google it, look up Mercedes-Benz of Fort Mitchell. There it is right there, right? Just look it up. There's Jeremy, he's there. Okay, Jeremy is originally from his family from Nigeria, right? But he's American, and he spent some time down in Arkansas around the same time, same place my son is from, playing football. And I made it a point, because I was one of the founding members of the dealership, and that's a lot of pride for me, right? That these two dudes better come in and show up and show out. So the very first thing I told both of them is I gave them dimes. I dropped dimes. I said, listen, guys, and that was back when I was working with Brennan Scanlon and Annette Polito. I said, both of you guys need to join Business Networking International. Ken took it and ran on with it and did it. And I'm very proud of the young man, because right now he's been retired from Mercedes-Benz of Fort Mitchell, but he was wise enough to keep his connections. And that's my question for you. Are you wise enough to know what to do with your connections? Or do you just have connections, but you don't know how to integrate your connections into what you're actually doing? That's a function of reality. And what we're building here is really a community. My test for you today is to look up Freedom, Georgia. Because during the season while we were building Diamond VIP, all the way back to April 5th of 2020, we got to that phenomenal third quarter. And during that third quarter, my wife was doing some phenomenal things. As a matter of fact, that's when she started perfecting the Eartha Kitt, or not the Eartha Kitt, well, no, not Eartha Kitt biopic, but that's when she got into Remember Me. And she did her thing with Remember Me, and she jammed with Remember Me, and that's what she's enjoying right now. But that was 2 years ago. So for the novices out there in the room, those that think that you're supposed to get money immediately and things are supposed to just happen for you, it took my wife 2 years. So as of September 2020, she was putting some of those details together. They began shooting the film in December in the midst of COVID. So we took the COVID test and had to do all the things we had to do. And somebody, I think a makeup artist or someone on set, had gotten COVID, fought through all of that, finished her film, and had to fly people in, so it cost extra expense to do so. Along the way, unfortunately, some film festivals were canceled, lost money, all the things that you're going to do in business. But a wise business person doesn't look at it like this. Let me take this piece of paper, let me ball it up, and let me throw away my business. No one looks at it that way. The way a wise business person looks at it is, they say, you know what? I've got to think like a business person. And no business in life would I ever do business with. I wouldn't go to that store and purchase anything from them if they were emotional. I just won't do it. So the way businesses do it is we think in quarters. And the reason I say we is my wife and I, we have several businesses. So we actually literally think in quarters. And so we have to sit there and talk to our financial people, right? I've been one in the past. And I want you to know, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter. So I changed that, and I said to myself, what if I judged my life by quarters? What if I ran my life like a business? What if I ran my marriage like a business? What if I said, you know what? I had a crappy first quarter, honey, and I'm sorry. I'm gonna pick it back up in the second quarter, and I'm gonna take you out more. We're gonna have more fun. By the third quarter, we're gonna pick up momentum. So that by the fourth quarter, man, we're gonna forget all the bad stuff that happened early on in the year and how I put too many other things ahead of you and I should have kept you out in front. That's one of the ways I did it in my marriage. One of the ways I did it in my prayer life is I said, Brian, no more excuses, bro. No more excuses. You're running around here talking about, God, I'll get to it when I can. That's what people do. And unfortunately, we pass away and all kinds of other things happen. So I got my warfare prayer manual. You see how beat up and tattered that is? Because I use it, okay? So I actually literally go through my spiritual warfare prayer manual. This manual will help you get up to as much as 8, 9, 10 hours of actual prayer. So there's no excuses. So I don't really believe in living a life of excuses. I believe in living a life where I actually am holding myself accountable for something, right? Doesn't mean I'm beating myself up, but I'm holding myself accountable. And that's what your first quarter, your second quarter, your third quarter will actually do for you going into your fourth quarter, right? Because you're holding yourself accountable. Meanwhile, the clock is ticking. When I started out in this process 2.5 years ago, I'm 50 now, I was 48. I'm about to turn 51. For me personally, because of the way that I live my life, I would be embarrassed if I was still dealing with the same problems from when I turned 48 and trying to build this. If I was still dealing with the same stuff, I would say to myself, Brian, you're not in business, it's a hobby. This is not something that you're really serious about. And so these are the ways that I actually think. So being this right now, we are now in the third quarter. So now we should be picking up momentum, because that's how I live my life. Most people will start off the year with a New Year's resolution. See, in this third quarter, we're gonna have Rosh Hashanah. And that's the Jewish New Year, right? And I always celebrate both New Years. I celebrate this one and then I celebrate the end of the year. Why do I do that? Because it helps me understand real momentum. I do it because I believe in my word. I do it because I love studying the word. I love studying, some of the Hebrew, the feast days, the Jewish feast days, and all those things. And it makes me a more complete dude when I do it that way, more disciplined in my journey, right? And so I put some information out there the other day, and I said, your work, and I gave the word, right? Your work in Judaism, right? The same word for work and worship, they're derived from the exact same thing. So this is a very simplistic principle that I want you to understand. When you're applying your details, whenever you say yes to something, when you say, yes, Dr. Stan, you know what, I'm gonna join Numi, I'm gonna do this thing. It's not a whimsical guess that I'm not gambling. I'm the one that lives in Vegas, so I should be doing the most gambling, but I don't gamble. You can ask Ronan, he'll tell you. So at the end of the day, what really happens is this. What really happens is you should say to yourself, how can I structure this in the most fiscally responsible way? How can I structure this like a business? Let me get the power of 3. Let me write down the things that they're actually saying. Let me understand some of these trainings. Let me go to some trainings. Let me look at some of the information in the back office. Is this really worth what they say it's worth? See, I'm one of those people. I'm going to not only take you at your word, then I'm going to go and I'm going to make sure that what you just told me was true. So I'm going to study up on all that information. So it's not just that we're doing a bunch of things. The things that we do, you should be studying up on and you should know something about. That's you personally. Hold yourself accountable. When are you going to learn about it? If not now, when? Okay, so we're now entering into the third quarter. So when I assess where we are with Diamond VIP and I look at the things that we're doing, Numi is blowing it out of the water. Yes, we're still into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and all those different things, but the reality is Numi is blowing it out of the water. And it is a 1-year-old company. So that means you could possibly, if you actually take the product and like it, right? And you want to sell it, no one has to do anything. But you have the ability to really go up the ranks if you really pay attention and listen. And in my lifetime, just to be frank with you guys, to say that I have a chance to be a part of something with someone whose books I read anyway, it was natural for me. And I made those suggestions that you read those books, just like I make the suggestions that you have I'm gonna call him a living legend, Dr. Stan, with you right now. And he's suggesting that you actually read his How to Build a Big Team Fast or the 21-Day Breakthrough Challenge. Why would you not do it? I don't quite understand it, because if someone gave me the keys to making it, and they said, Brian, these are your keys. This is how you make it, bro. I'm looking for my keys now, right? Can't find them. But this is how, here you go. This is how you make it. This is it, right here. Here are the keys. You want to make it, B? Here you go. The first thing I'm going to do is pick up that little raggedy key. I'm going to pick up that key. I'm going to take you at your word, and I'm going to say, even in my pessimism, I'm going to be optimistic. So I'm going to say, okay, you said this is the way you make it. Let me see. Let me challenge you. I want somebody to challenge me on your health. And I want you to prove me wrong. You can take Numi. You can actually take it every single day, swish it around in your mouth, spray on the spray, and you get 0 results. Not only will the company give you your money back in 30 days, Brian Lamont will give you $50 for your trouble. It's time out for the games. And it's time out for our understanding of what we think finances are. I was telling someone out front earlier, he leases a car. He leases an Infiniti. It's a small Infiniti. It's a beautiful little car, but it's a small one. He leases it. I said, what's your lease payment, roughly? He said $477. And so I began breaking down to him my Porsche Panamera. No, my Porsche Cayenne, sorry. My Cayenne. And I said, this is what knowing what you're doing is. He said, what's that? I said, I contacted a wholesaler last week, and the wholesaler told me I could get $41,000 minimum for my car. That means that's the wholesale amount, which actually means you can probably sell it for $6,000 more, almost $50,000, like $47,000. When I thought back to it, I said to myself, I only paid $55,000 for the car 3.5 years ago when we bought it. We bought it when we first moved here. The car only cost me like $55,000. Put a couple of warranties on it, that kind of thing. One for the tires. I think it was already certified, so we didn't have to worry about that. Financed a little bit and went on about our business. At the end of the day, guys, it's not the finance payment that I paid. Most cars depreciate anyway. If I can get 41 for a car that cost me 55, that's $14,000 worth of difference. That's just in that. But if I can get 47 for the same car that only cost me 55, that's $8,000 worth of difference. So I drove the car for 3.5 years and I got $8,000 worth of difference. But let's be kind. Let's say the difference is $20,000. If the difference is $20,000 and you divide the number of years that I've actually driven the car in lease payments for say 4 years, that's $416. What am I talking about? I'm talking about average depreciation, because that's how they figure what your lease payment is. We used to call it half car, because basically most people would buy their cars up to 6 years, so they average the leases out for 3. So they look at what your average depreciation is of your car, and they only allow you to pay for that little bit less the usage tax, or the amount of tax that you've actually are going to be paying per month. So when you look at a payment that's $416 a month, that's actually a Honda Accord. So even though I bought a more expensive car, because of the usage that I've gotten out of the car versus what the car actually cost, I'm actually making a less expensive payment the moment that I sell my car for 41 or even 47 if I get retail out of it. And that's better than the average person. If you just figure, let's say it's 47 and I paid 55, that's $8,000. Please Google $8,000 cars and show me what they look like. They won't look like my Porsche. And that's the value, and that's the reason why I call us VIP. I'm not going to give you that knowledge if you don't ask me. But I have that knowledge, and it's been sitting here the whole time. And honestly, no one's asked me about cars, which is actually funny to me, because that's the thing that I was always an expert in. A lot of people may ask me about finance, because I did do finance. But as far as I'm concerned, guys, if I tell you that I'm going to be here and I'm 50 years old, I'm going to be here until I turn 75. What I'm saying is I'm going to give you my golden years. And if I'm going to give you my golden years, do you think I'm going to play around with those years? Do you think I have time to sit and procrastinate? I don't have a minute to procrastinate. So anything that I suggest to you is something that you can take right now and change your entire life by the end of the next quarter. This is the third quarter now. This is August. We got August and September. By the time we get to October, November, and December, take me at my word and join a BNI group. I love using the example of Ken, and I'm going to give you some background on that, and I'm going to show you a Vimeo so you can actually understand what's really going on. But here's the deal with Ken. Ken's probably only 36 years old. I know he's not 37. Young guy, attractive, good guy, but he was working with one of his clients who followed him over from the Chevrolet dealership. The guy's name was Herman. And Herman was actually one of the other presidents of BNI. So I had been to Herman's group a couple of times, his chapters a couple of times. I'm not just joking about this stuff, guys. I could literally schedule meetings all day, every day with Business Networking International, at least before lunch, okay? And so I said, okay, so Herman has a group, and I looked at his group, and Herman is a hedge fund manager. I liked where they met. I liked everything about his group, but I'm already president of my chapter. So at my dealership, because I knew that Ken was an actual salesperson of Herman, I went up to Ken and I said, Ken, why are you not in Business Networking International? And he said, Brian, you know what? Herman's been asking me to get in Business Networking International. And I told him then when he said it, I said, if a multimillionaire comes up to you and suggests that you do something and you don't do it, what's wrong with you? That was what I told him. And so the young man decides, you know what, Brian? Okay, you're right. I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I'm gonna be on that, big dog. So literally every single morning I would meet him for our morning meeting, and I say, Ken, are you in BNI yet? He would laugh. No, I'm joining. I got my application, blah, 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 blah. I said, Ken, here's what I did. I went up to the dealer and I told him, I said, look, my old dealer would pay for my fees. So one of the reasons why I'm willing to back you up on your fees is because they back me on my fees. I'm actually challenging you to think outside of the box, to commit to something, and to become a business person right away. Not tomorrow, but today. Don't have any time to waste. I got 25 golden years I'm giving to you. I'll give you up to 75. I told you, until BNI, listen, Diamond VIP is going to be here until I'm sipping soup through a straw. And hopefully it outlives me. So I don't know how long I got here on this earth, but I'm not going to waste a second. I'm not going to waste a minute, because my work is as unto the Lord. It is a part of my worship. So even what I'm doing right now is worshiping God. That's how I see it. So he finally joins the Business Networking International group. And a year later when I came back, because this was during the time that we flew out to LA, Los Angeles the first time, and I shot the first sitcom. And I said, Ken, I said, did you ever join BNI? He said, yeah, B. He said, not only did I join it, he said, I'm starting a company, a media company. This is some of the stuff I was doing on social media. So he's got a drone company, he got his drone pilot's license, and he now has his own company. He shoots videos and sometimes commercials where they're doing the aerial view for multiple dealerships from that whole area all the way up near Cleveland where Bernie is, and he's down in Cincinnati. So that means Columbus and all those places. He thought outside of the box, he kicked the box out of the way, and he just went and got it. And that's what I'm looking for out of every single individual. I'm not in any box. I kick the box out of the way and I just move into the area that I want to go into. And I want to empower you before it's too late to go do the same thing, because I don't want you to live your life with any regrets whatsoever. That's the Diamond VIP difference. I don't care who else has a group and what that group is doing. Are they offering you their heart and soul like I'm offering you now? So when it comes to Business Networking International, he's one of my examples. But my second example is a gentleman named Jordan Oliver, who was doing FES credit counseling. So if you're wondering where Nove came from when I talk about the credit counseling, because we're going to really start heating that up too, because some of y'all need to get in line. The beauty of Nove, what I love about Nove, was around September of 2020, there's an area in Georgia called Freedom, Georgia. You need to look it up, Freedom, Georgia, okay? Now I dropped Damon John speaking about Nove, and he was giving a shout out to them on Forbes. You can just look it up, I put it in the room. And as he gives this shout out, I'm looking at it, I'm researching it, and then Jordan came in and did an actual call for me. And as I looked at the call, I said, Freedom, Georgia, are you kidding? That was September of 2020. My wife and I were off the grid at that time. We were busy doing stuff in Hollywood. I was in LA for the whole month of September, shot a movie. I said, wow, they got that accomplished? He said, yes, but they also were working with Nove, which is an affiliate marketing company. So if that doesn't get your wheels turning and get fire lit up under your behind, then nothing else will. And the reason I say that is, instead of them just complaining, because I kept telling people, I said, you don't fight the good fight by protesting. The days and years of protesting in my mind are almost dead. Now you can disagree with me, you can have whatever, but like I told you, you always follow the money. The greatest way to show your power or your strength is to go invest and become. I'll say that one more time. The greatest way to show your power and your strength is to grow, invest, and become. So what that village represents is the same thing that I want Diamond VIP to represent. That's how I built it. That's why if you don't fit that narrative, then you don't fit Diamond VIP. I was raised by a beautiful family with cousins. One cousin's a doctor, another cousin is a lawyer. One cousin was actually William Sherman Jr. was the first black prosecutor of Hamilton, Ohio. And here we are in little Hamilton, Ohio. Nick Sutton shoots the he shoots the fight scenes for the Black Panther. There's Nick. You got the Suttons and the Shermans. That's my family, is the Shermans and the Suttons. We all kind of grew up kind of like family. Here's a little small town, a little small village. But in that little small village, we're helpers one to another. Now imagine, if you will, that you put down your weapons and you stop worrying about who shot John and who gets there first. And you said to yourself, nah, I'm gonna build a village. And I'm gonna have my brother's back and my sister's back. And I'm not gonna look for me, I. And I'm not gonna drift away. And I'm not gonna, all these different things that we generally do. We go through something and we let that something determine everything that we do. Imagine, if you will, that business that's not working on a quarterly system. That business you like to get your shirts from, or maybe you like to get your watch from. That business suddenly, because it got so emotional, it said, you know what? Things didn't work last quarter like we wanted them to, guys. We're gonna have to close. What would you think of those folks if that's what they did? That's the difference between someone who thinks of themselves like a business and someone who does not. That's the reason I could go through 5 bank repossessions, 5 cars getting repossessed. That's the reason why I could go through 1 home going away and still show up to work every single day and grind it out and find a way. That's why. Because I wasn't looking at the short term, I was looking at the long term. That's way off in the distance. It's as of who we're going to become. So if you want this community to be the best community possible, the only way it's going to be the best community possible for you is to get involved and to become a part of the community. No one's begging you to do anything. You can do whatever it is you desire to do. But if you find something that you really want to do, get involved. And this time, don't disappoint your own self. Become a business. Think like a business. Think in quarters. Get involved in the things that scare you. I know BNI scares you. It scares a lot of people. It scared me when I first started. But once you embrace it and become a part of it, you realize what it is. All of a sudden, man, you use it as a part of what you do. It gives you a roadmap. And the reason I'm proud of Jordan Oliver and Ken Campbell is both of those young black men, 140, 136, have left their jobs because now they have a foundational point that they can use. I got to be a part of that. I got to mentor them. I got to help them. I got to suggest. And that's what we're doing right now. If you choose not to do it, God bless you. But it's one of the biggest mistakes you'll ever make in your life, because whether it be BNI or whether it be your local chamber or whether it be a charity, get involved. Your community doesn't know you're breathing right now. Get involved. I hear many people say, I want to write a book. They tell my wife, oh, I want to write a movie. Oh, I want to do, can you show me the way? Can you this or that? And she'll tell them a couple of things and they'll go, oh, that's too hard. This entire thing is hard. But what if you learn to master hard? What looks hard, what some people claim is hard. What if you learn to master it? Then you can take control of it. That's all I did. I took whatever was my fear and I said, you know what? I'm going to face this thing out and I'm going to walk it out differently. God bless you all. I love you all to life, Diamond VIP. I will see you all tonight. Looks like it's coming up really, really, really soon. Dr. Stan at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. That'll be 6 o'clock our time and 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Guys, if you're missing this Presentation. I can tell you you're missing a lot because he goes into details that even Stephen K. Scott doesn't go into. Of course, Stephen Scott goes into things that Dr. Stan doesn't necessarily go to. So I would say get in both of them because you want to show your people what's really going on. If you want to know the pay plan, Dr. Stan is the perfect person to explain your pay plan to you. Why? Because he's been #1 in 9 different companies, and this is your chance to make a difference. God bless you all. We'll see you tonight.